we do have some new second-hand parts. Maestro coilovers from an S2000. Let me show you our problem, which we do have a couple of solutions. Welcome back to KM Builds. If you're new to the channel, this is mine and Matt's 1986 Honda Acti. We've been working on this for the last couple of months. We've got quite a few videos, so make sure to go back and check out how we've got our truck to this state. We've done a lot of rust repair, we've done a bit of modification. We're planning to put a Honda Fireblade motorbike engine in the back of the truck. We're putting this on air suspension to sit it on the floor, so make sure you stay tuned to our future videos. As the title and thumbnail suggests, we do have some new second-hand parts, and that are these. These are actually Maestro coilovers from an S2000. We're going to try and make these S2000 coilovers work on our K truck. It's going to take some modification and some work, but without further ado, let's get the truck in the air and start to get this front suspension apart. So the front suspension on this truck is fairly straightforward. We have got a bit of rust to sort out there, but we may have to modify this section for the new shocks. So all it is a top mount with 3 bolts on the top, and then the strut comes all the way down and is just clamped in at the bottom. This is very similar to what you would see on a Golf, VW, Audi. I think a lot of them use a clamping system where they clamp onto the bottom of the shock. A lot of Japanese stuff tend to use a bolt through the bottom of the shock, but this is fairly straightforward. So what I'm going to do is remove this shock out from the truck now, and then I'll show you what the plan is with the S2000 suspension. So that is the top mount bolts off. I've left them in loose for the time being to stop the arms and everything while I'm working on the bottom. What I'm going to do is tackle the bottom now. All it does is it clamps the bottom of the shock, and there's 1 bolt that should be going through the back. It is a little bit rusty on all the suspension arms, so hopefully we don't get any snap bolts, but let's get the bolt off and see what we can do. So that is one of the front shocks now out. So let me show you how it looks underneath, so you might have a better idea of how these shocks work. So you may have seen by the time lapse, but what happens is the shock will simply slide into the hole, and there's a bolt which goes through here and clamps onto the shock and keeps it into place. I've used a screwdriver there to spread the split, which allows it to spread apart and us to get the shock out. So as you can see, the S2000 shock is actually a lot longer, but we do have to remove the collar which is on the bottom of here. So if you've never used coilovers before, there's a threaded system which basically allows you to adjust the bottom collar. You can adjust the spring, so there's a lot of adjustment on these. So all we have to do is loosen off this, slide the collar off the bottom, and then we may see that the shock is roughly the same length. So let me get this off, and then we'll show you how it looks. So you would have last seen that I had everything off, got the standard shock off, and removed all of the pieces on the S2000 shocks. It's been a couple of days. I did put it back together as we did hit a bit of a problem. We spent a couple of days thinking of what the best solution is. We kind of have 3 options as to how we're going to tackle this. So what I'm going to do, I'll get it back up on axle stands, I'll remove this side, and my plan is to get the knuckles off both of the sides. May get one off today, as we've got to take it to some CNC engineers just to see what options we have or which option we can choose. So the plan today is to get off the knuckle so we can see what we're dealing with. So I've removed the knuckle, so let me show you our problem, which we do have a couple of solutions, so I'll also show you them. So just to show you the shock, this is where the steering bolts onto, and that spins there. This is where the actual control arm will come this way to the truck, and that's where that bolts onto. And then the shock actually sits into this hole. However, the standard shock is 45mm wide, which is basically the width of this hole. This is the S2000 shock, and unfortunately the bottom of the shock is 50mm, so it won't fit into the hole no matter how much we spread the split in the middle, we cannot get this in. So we have a couple of options of how to do it. This wouldn't have mattered if we bought the MX5 Meister coilovers, because I know I've got the dimensions from when I put the bags on the MX5, and I know that the shock is also 50mm wide on that. So having these makes no difference, because Meister R would just make a similar center or dampener, and then they will change the top mount, change the springs, and change the cup on the bottom to suit different cars. But let me show you the options we've got in order to fix this problem. Option 1. So this is the knuckle, which I've just showed you on the floor, and this is the standard shock. So one of the options is to basically make a cup which goes onto the bottom of the shock, which then reduces down to size and simply goes into the knuckle. This is probably the easiest option. There's no modification at all. They just have to make an adapter to go on the bottom of the shock, which then allows us to fit into the knuckle. However, this also does mean that the truck will sit at least an inch higher than the standard shocks. Again, this is going to be going on airbags and air suspension, but if this doesn't allow us enough drop, we may have to remove that solution and come up with another solution later down the line. And also that could be quite expensive, as is quite a bespoke part for them to make. So the hours in order for them to make it will be quite expensive. We are going to have to take all these options to a machine shop not far from us and see what they say. But let me show you option 2. Option 2 is the next option, where this option will only involve modification to the knuckle itself. The hole there, as you can see marked in the red dotted lines, would be 45mm, and that would be then to get them to machine the hole out to 50mm, which is represented in the green lines. The problem with this option is that the hole there is currently 45mm, and in order for us to gain 50mm, that is quite a lot of material to remove. We could maybe strengthen up the outside, but that is a lot of material to try and gain. And that leads us on to option 3. This is the most risky option. It does involve modifying the shock. The other two options, we could probably weld material back, find new knuckles or any of that, but this is quite an expensive option to mess up, as the shocks obviously are not so cheap, and you can't really buy individual shocks. So this is the riskiest one, but it seems like the most viable. So option 3 involves modifying the shock and the knuckle. So for the shock, you can see these are the threads on the side of the shock, but what we would essentially do is get the machine shop to skim off the threads and make the bottom of the shock nice and flat. So I'm not sure how well you can see that, but at the top of the shock, where the spring would normally sit, is actually already flat. And as you might be able to see, is there's probably a mil, maybe a mil and a half either side, which extends out to the threads. So all we would essentially do is get the machine shop to just skim the threads nice and flat. That shouldn't really remove any of the structural integrity, as there's plenty of material on the bottom, but that will give us about 2, hopefully 3mm on the bottom of the shock. But 3mm isn't enough, so that's where we move on to the knuckle. So as you can see, again, the dotted lines is the 45mm hole. Hopefully by now the shock will then be reduced down to about 47, 48mm in width with the flat surfaces. So all we would then have to do is gain 2, maybe 3mm onto the knuckle. So then these red lines would essentially move out to the green and have it bored out 2 or 3mm. And as you can see, it's probably a lot easier for us to gain 1mm this side and maybe 2mm that side, or maybe even just 1mm either side or 2mm one side, but there's a lot less material that we would have to remove. But as I said, we do modify the shocks. We're going to have to take the correct option and maybe just take a leap and see what happens. So we're going to take all this to the machine shop and see what they say. If we come up with a solution, then that is the bottom of the suspension sorted. That can all be bolted back on. We may try and get as many new parts as possible, but that is the bottom resolved. The next problem then is moving on to the top mounts and how we mount the top of the shock. So the standard setup is obviously 3-bolt setup for the standard top mount. The rust here, we've left this purposefully because we may have to modify this whole area, so it wasn't much point in repairing this until now. We may just repair this individually, but I'll explain that in a sec. So what we may try and do first off is remove the top mounts from the standard shocks and mount them onto the new shocks in order to fit that. If we do that, all we'd have to do then is repair the rust that is there, and then it works. However, that may not work because we may not be able to get the top mount onto the shock. Option 2 for that then is to use the S2000 top mounts. And as you can see, the S2000 top mounts are just 2 bolts, and they're also a lot narrower than the hole that's in the top of the truck. So that would then mean that we have to basically redesign this whole area, and then while we're doing that, we might as well take this mount-in section and at least mount it an inch higher to where the seat would sit, because we do have a little bit of room in which we can lift up the top mount section. But for now, let's get all these options and parts to the machine shop and we'll see what they say. I don't know how much we'll be able to get. We'll probably be able to get a couple of before and after shots or videos, but let's go and see what they say and see what we can come up with. So I've taken the front shocks and both of the knuckles to the local engineering shop, and they have decided to take the job on, and we have come up with a plan. So we're going to leave out with them, and then hopefully when it's done they'll give us a call and we can go and pick up the parts. Hopefully it doesn't take them too long, but this is a bit of a side job for them, so fingers crossed we'll get it by the end of next week. But for the time being, let's start to make a move on the rear of the suspension. We might not get the front finished in this video, as it might take longer for them to get them sorted, but for now let's at least take a look at the back and see what we can do. But before looking at the rear, the plan is to try and get this front. We have got a pallet which has wheels on it, so I'm going to try and get the front end on that pallet to make it movable, as obviously the wheels are no longer, in order to get to the back and start to bolt the subframe on. So without further ado, let's get the truck on the pallet, move it forward, and let's look at the back. For those of you that are new to the channel, you may not know what we have done on the rear so far. So the Honda Active from Standard has a leaf spring setup. So at the back and about halfway down, there are two mounts, and there's two springs which go from here to the front, and then one solid rear axle. However, in order for us to put this on a suspension, this isn't really going to work. So what we did is we removed it all, and we've squared off the chassis rails in order to accept this Mark 1 MX-5 rear subframe. In order to accept this MX-5 rear subframe, however, this needed modification as well. In order to extend this, we've took a 5mm plate and welded it on and extended the subframe out about an inch, maybe an inch and a half. So what we can do now is we can lie this subframe underneath the rails, nice and flat, and get this mounted onto the subframe. So let's get this bolted on roughly, and then we'll show you what we're dealing with. So just before I bolt on the rear subframe, for those of you who are new, you can go back and see how we modified all this rear end. We've done a lot of stuff on this rear bed, so make sure to go and check it out. But let me show you how it works roughly. So our problem when we had it was that the subframe was slightly too narrow for the rails, and the rails weren't completely flat. So what we did was simply added a flatter piece on the rails, which then mounts up with the piece that we've added onto the subframe. As you can see, the subframe is now about an inch, maybe an inch and a half wider. So what we got to do now is lift the bed up, move it back, put it onto this subframe, and get some bolts through the holes and get all bolted together. So let's get it on. So the rear end of the truck is now on a small dolly and a load of blocks of wood, so that we can now move the truck. We can move it forwards and backwards now easy enough. But let me show you what we have to do for the rears and our plans that we have in mind. So the standard suspension normally works with a top mount which has a certain pattern on the top, and then there's different mounting systems for the bottom. For the MX-5 bottom mount, there's usually a circle bushing attached to the bottom of the shock, and you simply bolt through here and bolt through the bottom, which is very similar to this, but normally this is all solid, one piece, and the bolt goes all the way through. Moving on to the top, some suspension has 2 bolts. The standard suspension on the front of here has 3 bolts, as you've seen earlier. But normally, for this system to work, what you would have then is on the chassis, you basically have the opposite to this and then bolt onto the chassis. However, we have an idea to make our suspension a lot easier. This is a shock from a motorbike, and as you can see, this on both ends, the rubber bushings and the spring are not in it at the minute, but as you can see, there's an eyelet on both ends. So in order to mount the bike shock, all it would take is 1 bolt through the bottom and 1 bolt through the top. Our plan is to try and replicate that and basically leave the bottom as is. Obviously we might look at getting the MX-5 bottom cups so they fit the chassis correctly, but we'll look at that in a minute. But what we want to do is replace that top mount for an eyelet. So I have ordered some rod ends which basically screw onto the top of the shock, and there's a hole through it to accept a bolt. The truck isn't heavy at all. I think standard they're only like 600 kilos. I'm hoping that with the other engine that we have, we're going to be dropping this truck down to even less than that. So it's not like there's a lot of weight on the back. We may not see the road for the time being, so for us is more how it looks, getting it all set up, and we can have something custom made later down the line in more heavy duty if we need. But I have ordered something, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it works, but we have to wait for that to come. But first off, what I think I'm going to tackle is the bottom mount. So as you can see, the S2000 suspension doesn't necessarily work with the MX-5 mounting system. However, what I may do is try and heat this up and bend the two prongs in for the time being. We may end up buying some MX-5 bottom cups, but I think they're about a 60 quid a piece. We are building this on a budget. If we can get them to work, then happy days. The only downfall to this is that there are no bushings on the bottom, as opposed to the MX-5 shock has bushing going through the lower cup. The only other benefit to this one is there's a lot more adjustment in the fact that we can raise the cup further up into the shock than we can with an MX-5 bottom cup, because as there's a solid bottom, there's only so far you can put the shock in, and then it bottoms out on the bottom cup. We are also converting these shocks to fit air suspension. You may have seen it in the background sat on the side of the shock with an airbag on. We do have a video on how you can convert your Meister R or BC Racing coilovers into air suspension struts. Make sure to go and check that out. That is live on the channel, so make sure to go and have a look. If you have Meister R's or BC Racing and you've always been thinking about putting your car in air suspension, this is an option. It's reversible. You just replace the spring with the bag, and we can show you how to do that, so go and check it out. But first up, let's see if we can modify these bottom cups in order to fit onto the MX-5 subframe. So I've had a little look at these off camera, and I just don't think that these are really going to work for what we want. We can get them to work, but these are really tall. I'm sure the MX-5 ones are a lot shorter, as obviously I have them on my MX-5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to at least order one, maybe two of these, see how we get on with that. I may order one because we may end up having to do some sort of customization anyway, so I may just order one for the time being so we can get one side working. Obviously I've got the rod ends which are going to go on the top of the suspension anyway, so that's due to arrive in the next couple of days. There isn't a lot we can really do now suspension wise. The fronts, we're waiting for the knuckles and the struts to come back from the engineering company. Hopefully that doesn't take us too long. Rears, I'm going to have to order these bottom mounts. We're waiting for the rod ends anyway to go on the top, so there's not really much we can do fabricating or any of that. You may have your own project car, and you may understand that sometimes things like this happen, and ordering parts is sometimes the biggest nightmare of building a car. We order something and then we've got to wait a week, maybe two, so there's not really a lot we can do. We are going to start looking at getting the engine mounted in soon, but ideally we want the suspension kind of mocked up a little bit so we know where to start, as obviously this is going to be on the floor. So what we're going to have to do is find the lowest point in which the rear subframe and the front chassis are going to be to the ground when the car is, or the truck is aired out, and then basically mount the engine probably an inch higher than that. The reason for that is that we don't want to drive over anything, big bumps, hit a big bump on the floor if we go on the road, and then smash the engine onto the ground. So we have to make sure that the engine is up out of the way. There's not really a lot we can do now, so I am going to leave it there. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. There's not a massive amount that has gone on as such. We've obviously got our stuff on order and waiting to be made, so just showing you the ideas and how the suspension setup is going to work. Make sure you stay tuned to see the next video, where hopefully the front, we may be able to just bolt that back together, and that can be done very soon. For the rears, hopefully there's nothing more too difficult about it other than creating our own mechanism for the top once the rod ends have come. Once the suspension is mocked up, we can either put the springs back in, or we can then convert all the shocks into bags. We have to put some of them order as well, so it's deciding if we're going to put the springs in for now or run the airbags. If we get the airbags, we can then also move on to the management. We're also going to be making something quite cool for the management, and that will also show what we are doing with the back of this truck. But for now, if you have any feedback, make sure to go and drop it in the comments. Make sure you go and subscribe to see our future videos, and we will catch you in the next one.